All right, listeners, get ready, because today we're diving deep into Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah. One of those classics everybody keeps saying they'll read.
And we're taking you right to the source, no shortcuts. We've got Victor's letters, journal entries, even glimpses into the monster's thoughts.
Should be quite the journey, trying to piece together the whole story that way.
Exactly. And trust me, it's not just your average horror flick plot. This book really gets you thinking.
Ambition, scientific responsibility, what does it even mean to be human, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And speaking of ambition, that's where we meet Victor.
Right.
Off of that. Yeah. He's writing these letters to his sister, Margaret, and he's heading off on this Arctic expedition.
Yeah, he's pumped. You can really tell this kind of romantic vision of the North Pole.
Untouched, full of discoveries just waiting to be made. That's how he sees it.
Perpetual sunlight, scientific breakthroughs. I mean, the guy's determined.
To unlock the secrets of the magnet, find faster routes to the other side of the world.
There's this almost reckless energy to it, you know? Like, is it just scientific curiosity, or is there something more driving him?
Well, there's this one line, right? I shall kill no albatross, straight out of Coleridge's Rime of the Ancient Mariner, like foreshadowing much.
Oh, yeah, that's Shelley. First, she weaves these hints throughout, you know? Like, Victor's so focused on his goal, he's not seeing the potential cost.
Tampering with life itself, pretty high stakes.
And that question keeps popping up, right? Is some knowledge just too dangerous? What do you think?
Tough one. But that's what makes this book so good. It really makes you think about those ethical boundaries.
For sure. And Victor's journey, it's not all letters, right? It shifts into these journal entries once he's on the ship.
And that's where things get interesting.
He runs into this mysterious stranger right there in the middle of the Arctic.
Talk about a chance encounter.
Eloquent guy, wise, but you can tell he's carrying some serious baggage.
Yeah, a real melancholy vibe. Very intriguing.
Victor completely captivated. He has to hear this stranger's story, write it all down.
It feels like destiny, doesn't it? Like this meeting was meant to be.
There's definitely some foreshadowing going on. And what's really interesting is the parallel between Victor and this stranger.
They both have that drive, that thirst for knowledge. You can just feel it.
And they both dealt with some heavy stuff, loss, despair, all that fuels their search for answers.
I mean, to understand Victor's drive, we got to go back to the beginning, right? His childhood, what was it like?
He talks about a happy childhood, lots of love, always fascinated by nature, close to his adopted sister, Elizabeth.
Sounds idyllic, but...
But there's this darker curiosity, too, an interest in the kind of forbidden knowledge, alchemists like Cornelius Agrippa.
Drawn to those mysteries of life and death, even as a kid, huh?
And then tragedy hits, his mother dies.
That seems to really cement his path. Like, he has to conquer death through science.
It sets him on this path that will ultimately consume him.
And that path takes him to Ingolstadt University, right?
Yep. And his experiments become his whole world. Sleepless nights, pushing himself to the limit.
Sacrificing everything, his health, relationships, for this one goal.
And then boom, one night, surrounded by chemicals and electricity, he does it. He creates life.
Wow. I can't even imagine that moment, seeing this creature come to life.
But it's not the triumph he expected. Instead, it's horror, revulsion.
Yeah, the creature's appearance, it's not exactly what he had in mind.
He runs, terrified, leaves his creation to fend for itself.
That seems like a turning point, right? Abandoning his creation, like setting off a chain reaction.
For sure. That's what sets the stage for the creature's journey, the isolation, the rejection, and eventually the vengeance.
And the first victim is William, Victor's younger brother.
Devastating for the family, but what makes it even worse is Justine, this innocent young woman, she gets framed for the murder.
Wrong place, wrong time.
The evidence is all circumstantial, but everyone's quick to judge.
What really got to me was Elizabeth. Her faith in Justine never wavered. Her defense was so powerful.
It really shows how fear and pressure can twist things, lead to injustice.
And all along, Victor, he knows the truth, but he stays silent.
That silence is heavy. Carrying that burden, knowing an innocent person is taking the fall.
The guilt must be eating him alive.
And that's where the story gets even more interesting. We shift perspectives, we hear the creature side.
And the monster gets a voice.
And that's crucial because we see his humanity, his struggles to survive, to understand this world he's been thrown into.
He's watching this family, the DeLacy's, learning about language, emotions, relationships.
Like a kid taking it all in, yearning for that connection.
It's both beautiful and sad. He's trying so hard to fit in, to be accepted.
And he goes to incredible lengths, teaching himself to read, devouring books.
Wow, educating himself, trying to become more human.
He even develops a sense of morality, feeling empathy for the DeLacys, secretly helping them.
You can't help but wonder, what if they knew he was there? If they'd seen his good intentions?
Yeah, that what if really hangs over this whole part of the book.
Yeah.
But sadly, his hopes get crushed when he tries to reveal himself.
What happens?
He approaches the old man, DeLacy, the one who's blind, thinking maybe he'd be accepted.
Makes sense. He wouldn't judge him based on appearance.
But then the rest of the family comes back, and, well, they freak out.
Oh, man. I bet that was heartbreaking for him.
He runs off, totally devastated, and to make it worse, he finds Victor's journals.
Oh, no. Talk about adding insult to injury.
He reads about his own creation, about the horror Victor felt seeing him.
That must have been incredibly painful, like having your worst fears confirmed.
It's a turning point. It shatters any hope he had for acceptance.
So, rejected by the DeLacys, rejected by Victor, that's what pushes him over the edge.
Yeah, the pain, the anger, the loneliness, it all boils over, and he vows revenge.
Against humanity, against Victor, his creator. And that's where we'll pick up next time, with the creature's descent into vengeance.
Things are about to get a lot darker, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we left off with the creature kind of hiding out, watching the DeLacy family.
Yeah, learning about humanity from a distance.
And it's fascinating how Shelley makes us see the world through his eyes.
Yeah, you start to feel for him a little, even knowing what he'll become.
That's her genius, right? Makes you question your own prejudices.
Like, can something monstrous still yearn for connection?
Exactly, and he's really absorbing everything, their kindness, their love, their simple life.
He's picking up on language, realizing how important it is to communicate.
And he wants that for himself, that sense of belonging.
It's kind of heartwarming, you know, but also really sad because he's so ostracized.
He's going above and beyond, finds these old books, teaches himself to read.
Seriously, that's incredible.
Yeah, Plutarch, Milton, he's diving into some heavy stuff.
Trying to understand his own existence through these stories.
And he's not just learning facts, he's developing a sense of morality.
Like watching the DeLacy family struggle, and he feels for them.
He even starts secretly helping, gathering firewood, clearing snow.
Trying to earn their acceptance, even though they don't even know he exists.
Makes you think, what if they'd known? Could things have been different?
That's the big question, isn't it? But sadly, his hopes get crushed when he tries to reveal himself.
Yeah, he approaches the old man, DeLacy, the blind one.
Figuring he wouldn't judge him based on looks.
But the rest of the family comes back, and, well, chaos ensues.
They reject him, just like that.
Out of fear, you know? It's a devastating blow for him, and then it gets even worse.
What, worse than that?
He finds Victor's journals, the ones detailing his creation.
Oh no, he reads about how horrified Victor was by him.
Talk about a gut punch. It's like confirmation that he really is a monster.
All his hopes shattered. That must have been a turning point.
Absolutely. It pushes him over the edge. Rejection by the DeLacys, by Victor, that's it.
So the pain, the anger, it all turns into this desire for revenge.
Yeah, against humanity, against Victor specifically.
He's done trying to be accepted. He's embracing the monster label.
And that leads to that confrontation on the glacier.
Where he demands a companion. Right. Another creature like himself.
It's a fascinating argument. He says he deserved happiness. He can't bear the isolation.
Points out the hypocrisy of Victor, living a normal life while he suffers.
It's a moral challenge, you know?
Yeah.
You created me, now you're responsible for my well-being.
And Victor, he actually agrees to it.
Yeah, reluctantly, tormented by guilt and fear.
So he's going to create another creature. That opens up a whole new can of worms.
For sure. Is it ethical? Is he just delaying the inevitable? What about the implications of a whole new species?
That's some heavy stuff, especially with all the talk about AI these days.
Shelley was way ahead of her time. She makes us confront those ethical dilemmas.
But Victor, he starts having second thoughts, right?
He's worried about the consequences, the potential for these creatures to reproduce, to threaten humanity.
It's like his ambition backfired. He unleashed something he can't control.
And in a moment of panic, he destroys his work, breaks his promise to the creature.
Oh, man, that's going to come back to bite him.
The creature sees it all, the betrayal, the shattered hopes, and he snaps.
I bet he did. What does he do?
He vows revenge, tells Victor, I will be with you on your wedding night.
Chills, literal chills.
He's done playing nice. He's consumed by rage. He's going to make Victor suffer.
And his first target, little William.
It's brutal, a calculated act of cruelty, mirroring Victor's abandonment.
Showing him the consequences of his own actions.
And then Justine, she becomes a scapegoat, a victim of the creature's manipulation and society's fear.
Another innocent life lost. It's just heartbreaking.
And the creature keeps going, stalking Victor, reminding him of his promise.
It's like psychological torture, keeping him on edge, waiting for the final blow.
And it all culminates on Victor's wedding night, the ultimate act of revenge.
He kills Elizabeth, doesn't he?
Yeah, just as Victor's about to find happiness, it's all ripped away.
Victor's world completely crumbles, all because of his ambition.
He finally realizes the true cost of his actions.
So what does he do?
He sets off after the creature, determined to destroy him.
Driven by grief? By a need for justice?
He chases him across continents, through the Alps, all the way to the Arctic.
But Victor's not in good shape, is he?
No, he's exhausted, physically and mentally, consumed by this darkness he created.
It's like he's on a suicide mission.
And then, in the Arctic, he runs into Captain Walton, another explorer.
Talk about a chance encounter.
But it's more than that. Victor sees himself in Walton, the same ambition, the same drive.
So he tells Walton his story, warns him about the dangers of unchecked ambition.
It's a powerful moment, a cautionary tale from a dying man.
And as Victor's life fades, the creature shows up.
One last time, drawn to his creator's side.
What happens? Do they fight?
It's not a fight, it's more like understanding, a shared grief.
The creature expresses sorrow. He's lost the one being who was connected to him.
It's a complex ending, full of ambiguity, good and evil, forgiveness, the bond between creator and creation.
Frankenstein, it's a story that sticks with you, makes you think about what it means to be human, to be a monster.
It's a warning about the dark side of human nature, but also a plea for compassion, understanding, taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, with Victor gone, the creature finally gets it. You know, it's that he's truly alone. Like that connection he craved, that's gone forever.
Ironic, right? He thought a companion would fix it, but now there's nobody.
And he even tells Walton that he wasn't always like this, obsessed with revenge.
Really? He started out different.
Yeah, he talks about being naturally inclined to kindness, compassion, all that.
Man, what if Victor had just, I don't know, been there for him?
Right. Instead of freaking out and running away.
Nurtured his creation instead of rejecting it.
That what if just hangs over the whole story, you know?
It's the missed opportunities that make it so tragic.
It makes you think about nature versus nurture, right? Was the creature born evil?
Or did Victor's rejection, the isolation, turn him into a monster?
Shelley doesn't give us an easy answer, does she?
Nope, she makes us grapple with the complexity of it all.
That's what makes it so brilliant. Forces us to see the shades of gray.
I mean, the creature's not just some mindless beast. He's articulate. He learns. He feels.
He's a product of both Victor's genius and his neglect, a reflection of humanity itself.
And that brings us to the big themes, right? Victor's ambition, his quest to conquer death.
And look where it got him. Destruction, suffering, his own downfall.
It's like a warning sign. Don't mess with forces you don't understand.
The dangers of playing God, thinking you can control everything.
But it's not just about Victor, right? Shelley also takes aim at society, the prejudices, the fear.
Christine's a perfect example, condemned because people were scared.
Circumstantial evidence, mass hysteria, it cost her life.
Frankenstein, it's a story that just keeps resonating centuries later.
It's a dark look at human nature, but also a call for compassion, for understanding.
It makes us think about our own actions, our responsibility for what we create.
And it asks, what does it even mean to be human? Where's the line between us and the monsters?
Big questions, no easy answers. That's why this book has stayed with us for so long.
It really makes you think. I mean, if you were Victor, would you have created the monster?
Would you have done things differently? Those are the questions we're left with.
Frankenstein, it's a must-read, folks. Go check it out.
We've only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to discover.
So yeah, dive into the full text, explore those dark corners, those unanswered questions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Frankenstein. It's been a wild ride.
Until next time, keep those pages turning, and remember, sometimes the most monstrous things come from within.